Hello, today I want to talk about a random microtrope that I have been obsessed with lately. But first, if you're new here, my name is Elaine. I love to talk about all things books, movies, pop culture, and right now I am living in Scotland, so I make a lot of travel content as well. But today, I have been obsessed with this microtrope lately, and I have been consuming so many movies and books with these themes, and I just wanted to sit down and talk about them and make a little list of recommendations if you are also interested in these kinds of stories. So the trope that I've been obsessed with is stories that feel like the song My Tears Ricochet by Taylor Swift. If you're not familiar with this song, it's on her Folklore album and it's a track 5, meaning it's really sad and painful. The major theme of the song, I think, is betrayal. It's about loving someone so much and trusting them for them to ultimately betray you, and because they knew you so well, they knew the exact perfect things to do to hurt you. And in the Long Pond studio sessions, Taylor Swift kind of explains that, and she talks about how the song makes her think of someone going through a divorce or a superhero movie where the worst villain is the one who was the hero's best friend. Think about Spider-Man and Harry Osborn in the Tobey Maguire movies, right? Like, they started out as such good friends just for him to become Spider-Man's villain, you know? Or even think Obi-Wan and Anakin. Their relationship, I think, is a great representation of friends becoming enemies, and because you were once friends, it makes it all the more hard. So I think this song perfectly encapsulates the feeling of friends to rivals, of ultimate betrayal, of trust being broken. And there's one line in particular that I think really stands out to me, and that's the line, "You had to kill me, but it killed you just the same." And I think a lot of these books and movies that I'm going to recommend and explain in the context of this song, that line is the one that I'd be like, yes, that explains the relationship of this book. So I think where this started was I went to the movies to see the new Frankenstein movie with Jacob Elordi and Oscar Isaac, the Guillermo del Toro movie. And I think that Victor Frankenstein and the monster's relationship is My Tears Ricochet. Because if you think about it, Victor spent his whole life working and learning and studying and trying to create and reanimate life, right? And he finally does it, and he gets the creature just to turn his back on him and leave him behind. And without the monster, Victor's life and his work has been for nothing. But on the flip side, the creature without Victor, he doesn't have life, and he also wants Victor to create him a companion. And so they kind of need each other, and their hatred and obsession with each other is what fuels them throughout the entire novel. Even at the end, when Victor dies, he dies with the regret that he didn't get to kill the monster, but the monster's upset. I just think that they are the perfect example of you had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. Because imagine having to destroy your life's work, but then also imagine like being born or created and putting your life and your trust into someone who just abandons you. I don't know. So I think that's kind of where this started. And then I started thinking about other movies and books that kind of have similar vibes. And one that came to mind was A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, the Hunger Games prequel about Coriolanus Snow, as a young student. And his relationship with Lucy Gray is so complex and interesting because I do think that they kind of loved each other. Whether it was real love or manipulated love, I do think that they had some sort of affection for each other. And that's what made Snow's betrayal even worse. And for Snow, it's about possession and control, and he can't let go of those things. He can't let go of his ambition and his obsession with power. It's like the line, like, you're the hero flying around saving face. Like, Snow does see himself as a hero. He sees himself as saving Lucy Gray, as letting her be the victor and taking care of her. And so because of that, I feel like he thinks he owns her. At the same time, Lucy Gray did need him to survive. And they almost needed each other, because without Lucy Gray, Snow wouldn't have gotten his scholarship and his acclaim. And without Snow, Lucy Gray probably would have died in the game. So like, they did have that basic necessity and need for each other in that sense. So we've got that basic necessity, and then we add that love and affection they felt for each other. It just becomes really messy. I think the reason that this song sticks out so much as well is because Snow is forever haunted by Lucy Gray. And that's why he struggles with Katniss so much, right? Because he sees so much of Lucy Gray in Katniss. He'll never be able to let it go. And it's like, cursing my name, wishing I stayed. I don't know. I just think that that is very much them. I think especially if I read you this line, "And on my worst day did I deserve, babe, all the hell you gave me. As I loved you, swear I loved you till my dying day." And so when we have the already complex relationship between Snow and Lucy Gray, especially with the ownership and the control and that whole aspect, and then we add the love on top, it just makes everything so much worse. And it's like, I did really like you, bro. Why'd you gotta betray me like this? Well, here's another one that sounds like them. Because when I fight, you used to tell me I was brave. Didn't have it in myself. So a movie recommendation for this trope is Kill Your Darlings. This is a movie with Daniel Radcliffe, and it is a quintessential dark academia movie for me because Allen Ginsberg leaves home to go to Columbia in New York. And it is a movie obsessed with intellectualism and the pursuit of knowledge and rebellion and revolution and changing the world, and all of the negative parts and the negative relationships are hidden by this world of beauty and jazz and books. I think that this movie kind of represents what dark academia is to me, the pursuit of intellectualism and beauty, but it's hiding this world of mayhem and probably murder. In this case, yeah, because this is not a spoiler, because in the opening scene you see a dead guy and you see people in jail, okay? This is actually based on a true story randomly. I don't know how much of it is true and how much of it is made up, but I didn't look that up. But the reason I think that this movie is giving my tears ricochet is because of the relationships between Alan and Lou, and then Lou and this other character named David. Another aspect of this film is that a lot of the characters are gay, and it takes place in 1940s New York, so being gay was not socially acceptable. In fact, it had criminal repercussions. Alan likes Lou, and Lou kind of likes Alan. In fact, he does like Alan, but he is so scared, and because of the fear and anxiety, it causes him to kill, okay? And when he kills, he's almost killing a part of himself, right? Because he's erasing his identity and who he is out of fear from society. It just reminds me so much because, like, Lou needs this character named David. Like, they have had a intense relationship together, but Lou is also so scared to admit that he is gay. And so when he, sorry, spoiler, when he kills David, he's killing a part of himself, and that is giving, you had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. Okay, another one is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is a book about a woman who is a writer, but she hasn't had much luck in the publishing industry, and her frenemy, so a classmate from college, is really, really successful and has had so many #1 New York Times bestselling books. Just got a deal with Netflix to make one of her books into a show, and she dies. And so our main character, her name is June, she steals her dead friend Athena's manuscript and publishes it as her own work and ends up getting critical acclaim for it. And I think that this book does such a good job at representing a competitive female friendship, and we all have friendships like that, even if we want to pretend we don't. Female friendships where there seems to be an underlying sense of competition and jealousy. It either brings out the worst in you, or it can inspire you in a good way. And this is a really good representation of a competitive female friendship bringing out the worst in you, and how, because she stole her work, she will forever be haunted by her friend Athena. And though she didn't love Athena, she liked her. It was a very, very complicated relationship, right? And now that she's taken her work and published it as her own, she's haunted by Athena's ghost. And I think for this book in particular, with the things that happen in it, a good line from the song for this book would be, "And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? Cursing my name, wishing I stayed." Because we kind of see June go a little bit crazy with guilt and obsession over Athena and wanting to be her, yet hating her at the same time. And there's a part of her that wishes Athena was still alive, but there's a part of her that's glad she's dead because now she doesn't have to feel insecure around her all the time. And it's such an interesting relationship. And it's crazy because Athena's not even really in the book. Athena's dies in like the first chapter, so it's just June and her thoughts and reflecting and being haunted by Athena's ghost that gives me this understanding of the way that their friendship is and just how insecure June felt around her, even though they were supposed to be friends. Okay, this next one's a movie, and it's a little bit different because the relationship is with oneself, and this is Black Swan. And the reason I think of this song is because if we look at the main character as two separate people, you know, like the white swan and the black swan, one cannot exist without the other. Black Swan, if you haven't seen it, it's about a ballerina and they're putting on Swan Lake and she's up for the lead. But she kind of has to unleash this darker, more sensual side of herself to access the Black Swan's, you know, the way that the Black Swan is supposed to dance. And she is striving so much for perfection that it drives her crazy and she starts going insane. We can look at her as kind of two separate people, right? The white swan and the black swan. And one is this more pure, innocent, studious, like very kind and rule-following version of herself. And the other is this more darker version. And one cannot exist without the other. But if she were to choose to just be the white swan and be like, I don't have it in me to dance like the black swan or to bring out this part of me, she would always crave that version of herself, knowing that it's in there. While it's not necessarily friends that turned rivals or something like that, it is very much a rivalry within herself of like, who do I want to be? And then kind of in the same vein, another movie is The Substance, and The Substance is about this new medical procedure or this new medicine that can make older people younger again. And so you have to be your old self for a week and then you can be your young self for a week and you're supposed to flip back and forth to keep this balance. And while the old version of yourself and the young version of yourself, you're the same person, they're kind of their own beings. And they start to clash with each other because the older version is jealous and bitter towards the younger version, and the younger version hates the older person and doesn't want to have to go back into that body. And so there's this really complex relationship of, again, jealousy and bitterness, yet it's the same person. And so it's like, if you kill one version of yourself, you are killing yourself. And then the last one is a book called The Favorites by Elayne Fargo. This is an intense novel about Olympic ice dancing. And so the main character is an ice dancer, and she is so clouded with ambition and desire and need to win that it kind of affects her relationships. This is an interesting one because there is redemption, I think. It doesn't necessarily end on horrible terms. The reason I think that this song kind of matches this book in a way is that the main character, her name is Kat. She comes from kind of a toxic home. And so there's a line in the song that's like, I can go anywhere I want, just not home. And as she is growing in skill and popularity and winning, you know, she's got a lot of attention on her and she can go anywhere and travel anywhere and win all these competitions, yet she still does not have a relationship with her home. She also has a really, really complicated relationship with her ice dance partner and with her ice dance team because, you know, ice dancing, you need a partner. And so you have to work together and you have to trust each other and learn to skate together to win competitions, but it's really hard for things to stay on the ice. And so we see a lot of drama and a lot of messiness. And I think that the intensity of the working relationships and the rivalries between the characters is why it kind of matches the song for me. And there also is crazy betrayal in this book, but like I said, there's redemption. So I don't know if the song is perfect for the ending. But the beginning to the middle of the book, there is so much heartbreak and betrayal, and I think that this song kind of matches the vibes. So anyways, yeah, those are some stories that I think give My Tears Ricochet by Taylor Swift. If you have any more recommendations, please let me know. I love these kinds of stories. I've been really obsessed with them lately. I've been watching so many movies. I don't know why I'm obsessed with like academic friends and colleagues turned rivals, but I am. I mean, I could even go on and say like Good Will Hunting could be this song because of the way that the professor and the therapist treat each other, and you know, they were friends and colleagues in school and now they've got this like jealousy and bitterness. I mean, it's just prevalent in so many films and books. So if you have any more recommendations, please leave it below in the comments. I would love to consume more like this. I think November just screams Dark Academia to me, and so much of Dark Academia is filled with intense competitive relationships where there's love and jealousy, and there's hatred and admiration, and it's really interesting to play around with those themes and those kinds of relationships. In the meantime, happy reading and happy watching, and I hope you're having a great November so far, and I will talk to you guys oh so soon. I've got a lot of vlogs. I've got some cozy reading vlogs and some travel vlogs coming out soon, so make sure you're subscribed or following along. I will link my TikTok and Goodreads down below in case you're ever interested in seeing what I'm up to and what I'm reading. I post on TikTok a lot. But yeah, happy reading, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day wherever you are.